Right here, a week ago, we had Capitol Day, where we had training in the morning. We visited all 120 legislators' offices, and we heard from legislators, students, and others here on the Capitol steps here in Sacramento. I'm going to give you a quick overview of how that day went and what the next steps are.
Welcome to the Frontline with FPM, where we talk about California politics, homeschool freedom, parental rights, and the family. I'm your host, Nathan Pierce, and thanks for joining us today. Let's jump right in and see what's going on here on the Frontline.
First thing in the morning, we did set up here on the Capitol steps to make sure that everything was going to go smoothly. We had a number of displays from students that submitted their work to be put on display here at the state capitol. We had a number of boards that were projects that students, homeschool students, had put together for their assignments, and there were a variety of those science projects, history projects. It was really neat to look through, and we had a couple of tents set up with tables displaying a bunch of these boards from students, and legislators, staffers, lobbyists were walking through this area all day on Capitol Day, looking at those displays and seeing the work of homeschool students. So that was a really great addition to Capitol Day this year. I'm really thrilled that we were able to do that. So great, big thanks to Tika, who organized that, and some of her friends over at some of the Classical Conversations local communities. After setup, we headed over to the Secretary of State's office building, where we rented a facility there to do our training. After check-in, we had families come in and learn in our training about how the legislative process works and how you can impact it, but also heard from some people about how it can make a significant difference. Next, the families went over to the office building and actually did those visits. We visited all 120 offices and left them with a packet of information on private homeschooling. Those packets include materials from HSLDA, from Family Protection Ministries, from the National Home Education Research Institute, and some others. My team documented every visit that took place, and we took down some great notes. Each family that visited offices were able to use a digital format to note that they made each visit along the way, how each visit went, so that we now have information about each of those offices, so that now we can follow up with those that had questions or wanted to express their support for homeschooling. And that's really important because it helps us to have a foot in the door here in the Capitol. Even when everybody goes back home, you're still making a difference after Capitol Day has passed. And so that's a huge benefit to me as I go from office to office. Those offices connect me with the families that came in to visit them, many times from the district that they represent. And so it's really helpful to have that connection with a real homeschool family that visited their office. After those office visits were completed, we came here to the Capitol steps and we heard from some great speakers like Frank Erb talking about praying for your legislators and what legislators ask for prayer for. Linda Sloniker, Executive Director of STOA Speech and Debate, spoke on the topic of the importance and value of teaching young people to communicate verbally, and was able to introduce a number of STOA students who gave speeches on the Capitol steps as well. James spoke on the butterfly effect. Michael spoke on electricity and safety. Ellie spoke on the importance of learning to swim. Mandy spoke on the topic of cultural beauty standards. Lizzie spoke on the value of learning to argue with civility. And then Kevin Bowden from HSLDA shared some great stories about the value of making your voice heard and the importance of how our civic advocacy, our homeschool advocacy, our advocacy for homeschool freedom can play a part in keeping our freedoms intact, even here in California. Then we also had some tours. Some families went on tours of the state capitol building and visited with each other, spent some time just fellowshipping here with one another outside the state capitol building. And then some went also back into the office building, which is just across the street here, the next block over, to go visit again with some of the legislators or staff. And overall, it was a really successful day, a very positive day, a day that left me again with hope for homeschool freedom here in California, but also left a positive impact on many of the legislators and their staff. Here on the Capitol steps, we had 3 legislators come and speak, and they were encouraged by the families that came out to Capitol Day. They were really blessed to be here, and they got to visit with some of the families, kids, parents that came to Capitol Day, and they shared as well their appreciation for homeschool families being here to represent the homeschool families in California. Each legislator has a district office as well, and those offices are focused more on the constituents, on you, where you live, and they're located near where you live as well. So you can visit those, and you don't have to travel all the way here to Sacramento. You can do it in your area. And so every legislator has one of those district offices, in addition to their office here. We visited their office here in Sacramento, so all of those offices here in Sacramento were visited, all 120 of them. But there's 120 legislator offices at the district level that you can visit too in your local area, and it doesn't take a lot. We can send you a packet. All you have to do is sign up on our website to do a district office visit. You request a packet, and we send you that packet of materials. You can receive it at your house. You can take a look at it. You can study it beforehand, and then go deliver it to your legislator at their district office. It gives them a personal contact, a personal point of contact in their district. And it really can have a significant impact without having to travel all the way here to Sacramento.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Front Line with FPM. For more information about the topics we discuss here, check out Family Protection Ministries at fpmca.org and subscribe to our channel.